Dylan, you're back with us again.
Yep.
We just watched, we've already watched them, but episodes 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian, the second season.
Mm-hmm.
And we're here. It's a little late, but we're just going to run through these two to get caught up, and then we'll do one for the third one this Friday. Well, let's start with the first one, titled The Marshal.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about the return of The Mandalorian and how the first episode went?
I thought it was a good reintroduction to, the whole, setting. It reestablished that, hey, Mandalorian, he has all his stuff, he's got the child. There are people who want to take the child from him, but they didn't focus on it too much.
The child, you mean?
Yeah, people trying to take the child from him. Because that's basically all the first season was him having the child and people trying to take it from him. They reintroduced it in the very opening scene where the guy, tries to jump him and it doesn't work out. But besides that, they kind of left the child out of this episode. And they focused more on the Mando dealing with basically two opposing factions to take down a bigger enemy.
Right. Yeah, this episode was basically about him trying to track down some other Mandalorians so he can help them. Because his last quest that he was sent on by the Armorer was to find...
To return the child to its people, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing this episode. My favorite thing about this episode is it's pretty much everything I like about the underworld and Outer Rim type of Star Wars. I mean, this episode opens up with the Mandalorian and basically an underworld boxing match between two Gamorrean guards, and he's talking to this underworld crime boss. And I think one of the best things about this episode and the Mandalorian in general is its use of alien species and how plentiful they are, which I think is something that's been lacking in the rest of Star Wars, especially the sequel trilogy, is they would only use a few alien species, and they all kind of look the same. They're all kind of brown and humanoid. Yeah. Whereas this one, we start off with Gamorrean guards and this one-eyed space orc-looking thing.
Wasn't he brown though?
He was green. He was he was like a pale green. Okay. So I liked that opening a lot, and then we transitioned back to Tatooine, which I was surprised when we went back to Tatooine because we've had a lot of sand planets in Star Wars, and we've had a lot of sand planets in this show already. Mm-hmm. But with where the story went, I was glad because it made sense for the story to be there with the crate dragon. It's okay, this needs to be Tatooine for this to be complete.
He was looking for Boba Fett, so.
Well, we don't know he was looking for Boba Fett at the time, right?
Well, I mean, they're there's a Mandalorian.
He just needed a Mandalorian.
Yeah, but they say, there's a Mandalorian on Tatooine.
Yeah, and at that point, it's okay.
Yeah.
And then we see Boba Fett's armor, but he's been worn by this other guy named Cobb Vanth, I think.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about his character?
I liked his character. I still think he's a lying sack of crap. I don't think he just bought it off the Jawas, which...
You don't buy that story?
I don't... Star Wars is convenient in a lot of ways, but I kind of get this feeling with this one that it makes sense for this character to lie about it. Mm-hmm. I don't know why, that's just kind of the feel I get from him. I'm not saying he's a bad dude, I just think he very clearly doesn't want to die. He's very self-preservative in some ways. In the flashback, he hides behind the counter. He doesn't fight back at all until he knows for sure that he's completely safe, which is when he gets Boba Fett's armor. Mm-hmm. And then even then he's very... I guess he does just walk in the room and start blasting, but he makes sure the odds are really in his favor when he takes...
I see your point.
Fights.
The only thing that throws me off is the fact that he gave the armor back.
See, that's the one thing I'm that's what makes him still a good person, is he only really took the armor because his purpose for it was to help his people. Mm-hmm. I just think he was also but if I tell this guy, he's just going to kill me, and then these people are going to be without any sort of leader. Okay,
I see what you're saying. I don't know if I'm on board with that, mainly because I don't think he'll be coming back.
That's true.
And we won't see that. Cause I think what the show does a lot is they bring in these actors to kind of have these one-off
episodes.
It's
very episodic. It's a snapshot of this moment in time, and then you move on.
And I'll ask you later about that on the second episode that we do. But let's talk about the crate dragon. How did you feel about the crate dragon?
I thought it was freaking cool.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. It was quite the way to start the season. Mm-hmm. This episode was an hour long, and it seems like we're gonna have longer episodes this time around, but this episode was definitely started out with a bang, and the Krayt Dragon CGI was pretty amazing.
Pretty good. Also, the line where he goes, "There's no such thing as an empty Sarlacc pit." He's like, "There is if you eat it."
Yeah, there is if you eat the Sarlacc.
What?
Yeah. So one of the things I love about this show so much is it really pays attention to lore and stuff that some older fans will know about Legends. It seemed like everything they do with the Krayt Dragon was playing off some sort of other stuff that we've known before. For instance, they used, I think, every sound effect that they've used, George Lucas had used for Obi-Wan's scream and Tatooine for the Krayt Dragon.
Yeah.
They kind of ran them all together. And then...
They had the Krayt Pearl.
Yeah, they had the Krayt Dragon Pearl at the end, and they also... Apparently, the venom that he spits, the acid.
That was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. Apparently, that's from other source material.
I felt really bad for all the Tusken Raiders and villagers.
Yeah, they got vaporized.
Yeah. Well, even the first guy, he goes out there, hooks up the bantha, and he's like...
He got eaten.
He just starts running away, and you're watching it, you're like, it's not going for the bantha, is it? Nope.
Yeah. They had to let one bantha survive. Well, of course, that was the same bantha that died at the end, because they killed one.
Then the second guy had to go and do it too. Like,
we made the joke that he wasn't around the first time, so he got conned into being the bait again.
Poor dude.
Of course, he got to run away, though, right?
No, I think he's still dead too. No, he made it.
No, the second time, because there's two of them.
Yeah,
and that was one of my favorite parts from a technical standpoint, is when they changed the aspect ratio from, I think it was 21:9 to 16:9.
I'm not a filmmaker. I don't know.
It wasn't 21:9, but they changed it to 16:9, and that I like that stylistic approach. But yeah, I thought the Krayt Dragon was pretty awesome. I loved its action scenes. I didn't know it'd be so worm-like. I thought
it's kind of like a giant snake.
Yeah, apparently people are saying that this was a greater Krayt Dragon.
Okay. I don't know that much.
It seems like there's different types of Krayt Dragons, so I kind of like the idea of there being a more Komodo dragon shaped Krayt Dragon, because this one was really worm-like, and it was fine. It served its purpose, and it was unique.
Well, to be fair, I think all the skeletons we've seen have only really been
the one in
like
A New
snaky.
Hope was just you only saw basically the neck of a It was the neck of a sauropod, and so we couldn't really tell if it had legs or not.
I think it's safer to just go without legs, though. Like, if you're going for, like, which way do we go?
Well, it was basically a giant sand shark.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. So,
really, sand jaws.
Yeah, it was sand jaws. It was basically sand jaws. But yeah, I thought that was a great climactic end to that episode. To end this episode off, what did you think about Boba Fett at the end?
I am excited. I want to know how he lost his armor. Because, so first of all, I'm pretty sure when the Krayt Dragon started eating the Sarlacc, that's how he got out. Is while it was munching, he just kind of got out. But what I don't get
is how he lost the armor.
Unless he was just super desperate. Because here's another thing they're going to have to decide. Are the Fetts Mandalorians?
Mm-hmm.
Because if they are, then there's no reason Boba Fett should give up his armor even if he's about to die over it. Because that's kind of the whole shtick. So if he is a Mandalorian, there's no reason he should give up the armor. But if he's not, then, survival, really wants to live, just got out of Sarlacc pit. But here's another thing. Everyone kind of brought this up in the first season. There's a lot of Mandalorians that take off their helmets. Clone Wars, Rebels,
that's true.
Almost all of them
Death
do
Watch
it.
did.
So someone has to figure out, okay, is this just like a Mando sect Mandalorians that they have this extra rule where it's like, yeah, we don't take off our helmets.
Yeah, I didn't think about that actually.
Because if that's the case and it's only their pod that has that rule, then.
But then why would he assume that this Tatooine Mando has the same?
That's the thing. I don't. They're gonna eventually need to discuss that.
Yeah, the helmet thing is...
I could understand if the only Mandos he interacted with were his pod, then he might just be assuming all Mandalorians do this.
Yeah.
So That's the only reasonable way I can see them going. Is there are some Mandos who just like there are different like basically like tribes like Native Americans. So you have like his tribe and they have a few extra rules. Then there's like, but he's from Death Watch, isn't he?
Who?
The Mandos who save him as a kid are Death Watch, right?
I think so. That's what they showed in the first season.
Yeah, but then none of the ones he's with later have any sort of Death Watch coloration to them. Like in the first season,
and the ones that like in the
underground ones, like the ones he lives with, they don't have any.
Yeah.
Death Watch.
They're gonna have to answer that for sure.
Yeah. Because that's gonna like, it kind of like solve a lot of the things.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, no one wants him to kill Boba Fett. We just got Boba Fett back. Like.
Yeah. Do you think he'll show up sooner rather than later, or do you think he'll be an end season?
I'm kind of hoping he shows up sooner rather than later. Here's another thing. Again, it all comes down to how much does he care about his armor. Because if Boba Fett really wants his armor back, then he has a reason...
He looked pretty sad at the end.
Yeah, but he has a reason to then go after Mando.
Yeah.
But if he traded it away for survival of the fittest, then it's like, well, why does he want it back now? Like, he gave it away.
You're saying if he gave it away?
Yeah, like, if we go down the path of he gave it to the Jawas to survive, then does he really care about it enough to chase down this guy?
Well, he may have had to give it away to have his life be saved, and then now that he's back up and running...
But he also looks like he's living out in the middle of nowhere without a starship.
He's probably been looking for it. Mm-hmm. His armor.
Well, here's the thing. Mando's already left Tatooine.
Yeah, I don't know what he's going to do.
So I mean,
he'll probably
unless he's got Slave 1 hidden away with somewhere, which is also possible because we never saw what happened to it after Return of the Jedi. But there was also the cameo, I don't know if you noticed this, but fake Boba Fett's speeder was Anakin's pod racer pod, like engine.
Yeah, I like that. Was it Anakin's or was it just...
Yeah, it was like the same one.
Yeah, I know it was the same style, but was there a marking on it?
I'm assuming it was his because...
I know he had markings on it.
It's kind of one of those things where it's like, this is probably his because cameo, like...
Yeah, because... yeah. That's a good point.
Because throwback.
Yeah, they definitely need their cameos. I think
there's another one in there. Oh yeah, R5. R5 still has his broken motivator.
He showed up. I think he's going to be one of those people that ends up being like the final boss of this season.
Yeah, probably. But here's the thing, he's also the Mandalorian. He's looking... Well, I guess there's more Mandalorians that... Did they ever... Oh, that's next episode, so I can't talk about that yet.
Right. I think he's still looking.
I know... Well, we'll wait till the second episode.
What information did he get at the end of this one?
At the end of the first one?
Yeah.
None.
He just started traveling again?
Yeah, he was just on his way back to Mos Eisley. Was the end of the first episode.
Okay.
It ended with Boba Fett seeing him on his speeder. Or on his jetpack. Or something. And
right.
Boba Fett turns around and it's Tamara Morrison.
Tamara Morrison,
yeah. And you're like, oh my gosh, he's really pale.
Yeah, some people thought he was going to be Rex, green. And then Ahsoka was going to come up. Which we don't know if Ahsoka is going to be in this or not.
I mean, okay, that could also be...
He can still play Rex. I mean,
are they on Tatooine in Rebels? They aren't, are they?
Well, I'm not saying he would play Rex on Tatooine, but some people are saying he was joining the show to play Captain Rex.
Oh, you're not saying that guy in the black was Rex?
No, that was Boba Fett.
Okay. I thought that's what you were trying to say at first.
Yeah. We'll see, though. I think we'll end that for the first one.